Hey folks, Kevin the editor here. This is the final of several videos from the Tuesday evening, April 23rd, 2024 Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum held at the Cedartown Performing Arts Center. It is one of two events being held this campaign season, with the next one up on Thursday, April 25th, 2024 from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Rockmart Theatre. All candidates are invited to participate, and everyone who can get a seat is welcome to watch live. Parts 1 through 4 of this series covers the District 1 and District 3 portion of this session and the District 6 school board candidate Drew Williams. This final part focuses on the coroner's race and features candidate Nathan Womack. Incumbent coroner Norman Smith was unable to attend due to mandatory training and will be back for Thursday's event. Grab a beverage, get comfy, and don't feel bad for pausing for bathroom breaks. We'll be back at the end.
At this time, we'll welcome Nathan Womack to the podium. Nathan, what motivated you to run for county coroner, and what qualifications and experience do you possess that make you a suitable candidate?
So what motivated me to run, that's going to take condensing a lifelong motivation into a two-minute answer here, but all my life I was encouraged to serve others above myself, do something that puts others before myself. And when I got into college at my alma mater at Berry College in Rome, their motto was not to be ministered unto, but to minister. And they ingrained that deeply in our subconscious to go out and do something that ministers and serves others above yourself. And so I took a conscious decision to work with the dead, to care for the dead, to care for the families of the dead. I've done so coming up on 10 years now at a funeral home. I'm a licensed funeral director. That segues into the second part of qualifications. I've served in the funeral home, like I said, for coming up on 10 years now, full license. I did previously work as a deputy coroner for a short time, so I went through the exact same coroner training that every coroner in the state of Georgia goes through to get my certification as a deputy coroner. And then also, I also went to funeral school. I have a degree in political science and public administration. I also have a degree in funeral service. That includes a lot of background in pathology, illnesses, ailments, and things like that. And also a lot of experience serving with grieving families and helping guide grieving families through really traumatic experiences in their lives.
Thank you. Next question is, how do you plan to ensure accurate and thorough investigations into deaths within the jurisdiction?
First of all, so with that, definitely implementing standard operating procedures that make the coroner's office really the first to secure a scene. Really and truly, the coroner is typically the first person to conduct any sort of forensic investigation into a scene, and law enforcement works in tandem with the coroner's office, so I would love to see a tandem relationship with law enforcement. Law enforcement works primarily with the scenes, and to the coroner, the body is your scene, and there's nothing more important than that. So really, I would love to implement some kind of policies and procedures that would make documentation a primary objective in any scene. Documentation of everything, being who all is on the scene, names, contact information, everybody you speak to, everything you collect, everything associated with the scene should be documented, tagged, and I would love to see some sort of use of a software. There's all kinds of software systems out there for death investigation. There's MDI, there is COTMS, there's all kinds of software out there for you to use that you can upload this information into a software, into a database that's been compiled and is easily accessible. And also, a primary objective would be to deal with fact. Coroner's office is really heavily involved in a science mindset, so you really need to deal with facts, not conjectures and opinions. And a lot of that would be implemented within those guidelines that would exceed the current state guidelines for medical legal death investigation.
Thank you. How will you prioritize the needs of families and communities affected by sudden or unexpected deaths?
Families always come first, no matter what the situation, and I definitely think prioritizing families is the single most important thing that you can do in this capacity, and a lot of that boils down to communication. Can't say communication enough. I know I would treat, and I have treated every single family as if they're a member of my home, and being as such, I would want to know every single move that was made with my loved one. So that would be communication on part of when they're taken to the medical examiner, at what point you are during the medical examination process, when they're released to the funeral home, any sort of communication that you need with that family, or to reciprocate that the family needs with you. It's also always being a resource, always being 24/7 availability for your families. And nothing can surpass communication with a family when it comes to sudden or tragic deaths. But also in that same degree, I have already spoken with and talked to several people in the mental health psychiatric community, and I think another important factor in helping prioritize families is being able to recognize certain stages of complicated grief or unresolved grief, and being able to line these families up with resources that they have to be able to help guide them through a little bit more professional counseling and consultation manner than can be done with unlicensed psychiatric caregivers, mental health experts. So that's something to really look into as far as how to help combat complicated and unresolved grief with these families that face sudden and tragic, and especially if you have a community disaster or some kind of community event that affects the community as a whole, having a panel of resources lined up to help deal with that.
Thank you. How do you plan to stay informed about developments and best practices in death investigation?
So for best practices in death investigation, that's something that is always evolving. There are always new tactics, new techniques, things that have been done in the past that can be done better, new mechanisms. And I think one thing that I would love to see done would be full accreditation of the coroner's office. That's something that I've looked into and spoken with several about. There are different accreditation organizations that you can become accredited, your entire office can become accredited. Then you can also gain certain certifications for the coroner and the deputy coroners that exceed the current minimum basic guidelines that the state of Georgia has outlined for training purposes and the basic coroner's course. These would also allow, accreditation would allow for grants that could be associated to help pay for expenses for the coroner's office, be it training expenses, equipment expenses, other things that can alleviate some of the burden from taxpayers, of course. But as far as accreditation goes, that would probably be the best way to stay up to date with all of the involvement techniques associated with the Office of Coroner, any kind of medical legal death investigation unit, because the accreditation through the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators is the same training facility that certifies the medical examiners investigators. So I think that would be a good way to constantly stay up to date with the most effective death investigation tactics.
Thank you. The final question tonight: should all funeral homes be entitled to handle indigent county cremations instead of one single funeral home?
I do think that that's something that could be looked into as far as either bidding out the amount that's paid for indigent cremation cases throughout the county. I know several counties around here surrounding us do it several different ways. It could be something to look into how other counties are doing it and how it best fits with Polk County's population. I know places like Cobb County, they're a much larger community, but they have a difference between, you can have an indigent burial or an indigent cremation. So it is something worth exploring, looking at different options as far as the indigent cremation process and whether one single funeral home handles that or it's bidded out to save the taxpayer money if they can bid it out from another crematory for another price, or if it's shared among funeral homes in the community to be able to help those indigent families throughout each individual funeral home instead of one solitary unit. So that is something worth exploring and looking into.
Thank you. That concludes our county coroner candidate questions. Just as a reminder for everybody in the audience, running for election, our incumbent Norman Smith and Nathan Mormon. Thank you. And finally, our county coroner surveyor candidates are Robert Larry Cannon and Nick Rainey. Neither were able to attend tonight, and we do hope that they are able to attend Thursday's session at Rockmart Theatre. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. It has been 2.5 hours, so thank you for joining us on the ride. This has been the Polk County Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum. Thank you. Have a great evening.
This now concludes the coverage of the first of 2 candidate forums organized by the Polk County Chamber of Commerce for primary season 2024. Remember, the next one is coming up in Rockmart on Thursday, April 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Rockmart Theatre. I'll be there to cover that one as well. Check back on Polk Today for additional campaign season coverage. I'm Kevin, the editor. Thanks for watching this Polk Today video series.